He was whipping up amazing foods, like making happiness. Actual happiness? Actual happiness and joy. Oh, the smell, it was so divine. He was making happiness? He was in the kettle.
Hi, hello, salutations. It's been a while, I know. I've been settling into my new place. It took some time and I got really sick too. JoJo! I love JoJo, and I'm amazed I've never tackled it on this channel before. That said, to be honest, at this stage of my channel's evolution, I'm diving into whatever I like and exploring all the ideas I've had, and this is the first time I'm talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure here. And frankly, I wouldn't mind at all if this were the format that really stuck the landing. I've been a JoJo fan since middle school. I got on board before Part 5 aired, and I fell in love with it. Then I fell in love with it all over again. Later, I have to admit the hype died down a bit, but then I fell for it anew, truly fell for it this time. Specifically, Part 4 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, for the exceptional quality of its adaptation, a quality unmatched to this day, for a whole host of reasons I'm going to cover today. I'm working on a major project behind the scenes too, so I'm hoping this video will be a bit on the lighter side to write and edit. It would be great if this works out. Alright, let's get started. This video focuses on Diamond is Unbreakable as an adaptation of the original manga and on what the anime succeeds at so well overall. But before going out any further, I need to set the record straight. Long before considering it the best adaptation of an arc and my personal favorite, Part 4 is simply my favorite part, period. So I have to give free rein to my fondness for this part as it exists in the manga. Let the glaze begin. The setting is by far my favorite of all parts. The small town of Morio, a place where all the characters are truly rooted and which they never leave with a few exceptions. It is a strange urban sanctuary, a town that is both quiet and peculiar, populated by familiar faces, rich in history and offering everything needed for a peaceful life within a close-knit community. Throughout the arc, we get to know its shops, its streets, and its residents. This stationary setting creates a sense of intimacy, unlike anything else in JoJo. Alongside the thrilling battles and absurd escapades, we discover a slice of life side, where characters simply go about their daily routines. This setting allows characters to reappear whenever necessary, since they actually live there. That is where its true charm lies. It highlights an excellent cast of supporting characters as well as minor characters who are just as well crafted. A real feat for a narrative structure based on the villain of the week concept. The diversity of the cast of villains, friends, eccentrics and ordinary citizens is one of the most enjoyable aspects of Part 4. Josuke, my favorite protagonist, a mischievous, cheerful delinquent with a big heart, balancing youthful carefreeness with a righteous, violent streak. He comes across as truly authentic and inspiring, possessing one of the most realistic personalities in JoJo. He serves as an excellent role model. Seriously, you don't really find yourself asking, what would Jotaro Jono do in this situation in your daily life? Whereas that is a question you can easily ask regarding Josuke. The generational aspect of his story is also deeply moving. From his past to discovering his father's true nature, it offers a very realistic yet hopeful portrayal of reconnecting with a relative never before known. Crazy Diamond is my favorite protagonist then also. Simple to understand, versatile, and a perfect reflection of Josuke's personality. Overall, I feel Araki created his best dance between Part 4 and 5. While the subsequent parts aren't bad by any means, and certainly contain some gems, Part 4 and 5 offer highly consistent quality and represent, in my eyes, the ideal blend of the bizarre, the spectacular, and the complex. Kira is also my favorite antagonist, a character who, despite starting out passively, becomes a central figure whose perspective is captivating, a striking contrast to Josuke, and a truly unique personality defined by his habits and little rituals. While constructed in total opposition to Josuke, he's also an incredibly well fleshed out character whose thoughts are always discernible. Araki achieved the impossible by turning a fundamentally passive character into a central antagonist. In my opinion, Araki's art also reaches its peak here, especially towards the end. The figures are slender and yet the lines are rounded, the visuals are vibrant and every panel bursts with life. As with so many other aspects, Part 4 represents a perfect balance for me. This holds true for stands, as well as for the fashion and the storytelling. The whole package is driven by an excellent story with fantastic themes, and it picks up and expands upon plotlines from related entries while maintaining a distinct identity of its own. Okay now, let's get straight to the heart of the matter. After the anime adaptation of Part 3, Studio David Production began work on its own version of Part 4. From April 2nd, 2016 through Christmas Eve of that same year, it aired the long-awaited adaptation of the fourth saga in Araki's masterpiece, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Thus was born Diamond is Unbreakable, which remains to this day the most distinctive adaptation produced by David Production. Let's get the obvious points out of the way. Josuke's theme song is my favorite. The music for this part is excellent overall and you'll hear it throughout the video and perfectly complements the atmosphere. You can praise the merits of any given track you like or your but for me, nothing compares to the feeling evoked by the voice cast and sound design are excellent, as it always is the case with this series, but it is worth briefly highlighting given David's production renowned for its audio work on JoJo. That said, let's look at what makes this adaptation truly unique. The animation style represents the first major creative choice of this adaptation. Araki's style evolved significantly over the course of Part 4. The team couldn't simply replicate every stage of his visual evolution without compromising the overall harmony of the season. This turned out to be a stroke of luck. The other parts often remained more faithful to Araki's pure visual style, featuring complex structural rules and details that can make the animation feel stiff even during key moments. Part 3 is a prime example of this, but even later parts suffer from that characteristic stiffness typical of the JoJo anime. Part 4, on the other hand, manages to strike its own balance. Rounded shapes, faces that are simpler to draw, and details that are easier to animate fluidly, all while preserving JoJo's unique visual identity. The result is remarkably fluid, charming and lively. I love this animation. The visual shift in Araki's work presented a genuine opportunity for the team. To ensure visual consistency, they had to create their own style and stick to it throughout the series. They drew elements from various phases of Araki's artistic evolution, allowing themselves the luxury of cherry-picking what worked best to create a blend that struck the perfect balance, while also offering a style far easier to animate than those that came before or after. It was a deliberate compromise, chosen with a full awareness that it would foster fluid, charming animation. This part demonstrates an exceptional artistic vision alongside this great animation. Morio's unconventional color palette instantly sets the town apart and gives it a unique charm, making it feel like an entirely new dimension. The sky, grass, flowers, foliage, trees, and even the buildings are consistently bathed in this stunning color harmony. It is a bold, soothing and dreamlike choice that paradoxically manages to ground the viewer in reality, the reality of its characters. It is an eccentric and striking artistic decision that I wish had been adopted in the other parts. Part 3 sorely lacks color variety. The team responsible for the manga coloring had a far better vision for that part. As for Italy, while visually pleasing, it could have benefited from greater visual boldness to reinforce the gangster atmosphere. However, it was part 6 that held the most potential in my opinion. The prison setting deserved a bit more life. Diamond Is Unbreakable features a wealth of polished transitions, often added specifically for the anime, and bold artistic choices appear far more frequently here than in any other parts. Almost every episode delivers memorable moments of animation, and the direction showcases its fluidity in a dynamic, original way. Another directional choice involves ensuring that short characters are kept short right from the start. That's cool. Look at this scene now. Look closely. This brief animated passage is an original creation for the anime. It is an extra scene added to flesh out the battle against Angelo. Take the example of Josuke hopping down the stairs. I mention it to highlight the fluidity of the movement and the fact that it wasn't strictly necessary. It is an addition that demonstrates the ease with which David Production animated this part. It represents a level of movement rarely achieved in other arcs. The drawings remain faithful to the character model. The motion is continuous. It is a brief sequence, yet it reveals just how committed the animation team was to capturing how dynamic this part was and how well they could manage it. The wealth of memorable elements also makes the stand-up moments even more magnificent to behold. It is the visual aspect that truly sets this part apart from the others and elevates it to a higher level. Whether it is the animation highlights or the ingenious art direction, the entire production is visually and orally breathtaking. All thanks to the creative freedom the animation team enjoyed in shaping the visual identity of this part. And this shift is supported by the team. After part 3, one of the main art directors left for another project, and we mostly have Toshiyuki Kato to thank for the feel of part 4. This man held a meeting specifically targeting these points in animation and structuring of the part for the express purpose of making Moyo feel alive. Kato unfortunately left for part 5, explaining the new shift in focus and art direction, with the team primarily focused on young talents. In my view, this is one of the 2 main reasons why this adaptation is so successful, but there is something else. It is in the staging and restructuring of events that the anime truly transcends the manga's framework. The additions of new elements and the rearrangements of scenes serves a specific purpose: to create the impression that Moyo is a living, inhabited place where our characters are constantly moving and evolving. Here are a few of those changes. The Cinderella arc was moved to precede the Kira arc, adding a touch of levity while extending the period during which Shigeshi remains our ally. This also allows for an appearance by Kira, who seems to notice the Cinderella salon and acknowledge it, thereby setting the stage for what follows. This scene could not have taken place later. After the battle with Shigeshi, Kira is actively being hunted by a group. Seeing him at that point would have undermined the story in 2 ways. It would have broken the tension surrounding the manhunt, making the plot feel like it was stalling, and would have rushed Kira's use of the Cinderella salon, making the situation feel forced. Having him notice the location before even meeting the group makes the time gap leading up to the place playing a key role in the story feel plausible. Overall, there are more instances of simultaneous events. The shared setting allows the narrative to shift between events while acknowledging their near simultaneous occurrence, thereby offering a dynamic portrayal of intense periods. This proves particularly effective during the battle on July 15th, the day before Bites the Dust. By depicting scenes unfolding concurrently, the anime reinforces the sense of an incredibly packed day, precisely the intended effect, but it strengthens it, and it is highly satisfying to see how each character naturally transitions from one fight to another. There are also more scenes showing the before and after of battles or situations, ensuring us a smoother transition between mundane daily life and the critical dangers posed by stands. Scenes set at school or work contribute to this as well, creating the impression that the town operates on its own rhythm and schedule independent of the main plot. This improves narrative pacing while enhancing the small town atmosphere. Events feel like they are unfolding simultaneously across Morio rather than appearing as isolated, disconnected arcs, which would undermine the concept of a shared setting. Added to this are small continuity details that make Morio feel more vibrant and cohesive, and I love those. The Morio Show radio broadcast is one such example. It is an excellent addition that strengthens our connections to this town. Then there are the movement of the residents, such as a grandmother glimpsed in the first episode who initially appears later. Many civilians appear in crowds before or after their initial roles, just as certain characters can sometimes be spotted amidst the crowds. We are also treated to a new scene where Josuke meets Okuyasu before class, allowing us to witness the birth of their friendship in a classic manner. The Nijimura house is visible in the background during the Angelo Rock scene, which makes sense given that it adjoins his Josuke's. It is a matter of consistency. The appearance of Future Stand users in the crowd at the end of the first episode serves as a form of foreshadowing, sure, but also a great piece of world building. It is funny to know that all these characters witnessed that minor altercation so early on, sharing the same space without suspecting that they would eventually cross paths again. There is an early introduction of Yukiko, who falls for Koichi, and the early appearance of the Cheap Trick character, a scene where Josuke bites his lip during the Shigashi arc, revealing his telltale sign of fear, a detail that takes on full significance during the confrontation with Enigma. Kira's appearance throughout the story, blending into the crowd at various events without the audience realizing he is a mysterious man with a hand, glimpsed in those unsettling sequences, is a remarkable decision. Take the opening scene featuring the hand, for instance, which introduces Kira right from the start. These details stand out all the more because the quality of the direction and pacing is already so solid. They enrich a strong adaptation, integrating characters naturally into the world rather than feeling like isolated puzzle pieces. And all of these additions are capped off with a polished conclusion. The ending is fleshed out to wrap up every character's arc, a beautiful farewell, even including the supporting characters met along the way. Like that guy from the Surface Battle, who is now dating the girl from the Cinderella arc. It's cute, isn't it? I really love this anime. Leaving Moyo is all the more painful because the team succeeded in making the town feel truly alive through these additions. Structural tweaks, refined directions and pacing, a carefully crafted color palette, and brand new scenes. It boasts a top-tier artistic identity. This part stands out from the rest, and I wish the other parts had benefited more from stylistic choices like these. I have no complaints about the other JoJo adaptations, but none quite match the perfection, dare I say it, of Part 4. All of this serves a single idea. Morio is a truly living city. That is what the anime understood so well about Diamond Is Unbreakable. This part features battles, murders, horror and tragedies just like all the others, but it also rests on something far more intimate and heartwarming than the surrounding arcs. These characters go to high school, they walk the same streets, they frequent the same shops, they cross paths without realizing just how important they will eventually become to one another. They have their routines, their neighbors, their rumors, their lunch breaks, their crushes, their bad days, and their trivial problems. This small town structure forms the soul of Part 4. And the anime elevates this aspect by creating a sense of shared experience. That is why the stakes, however modest, work so well. They are modest because the world being protected is small enough for us to know every nook and cranny. When the anime gives everyone those heartfelt farewells, it really feels like leaving a place, a warm, familiar home. To me, that's its adaptation's greatest strength. It captures the very essence of Diamond Is Unbreakable, that small town that is simultaneously divided, bizarre, welcoming and dangerous, and takes it even further. It makes Moyo more colorful, more interconnected, more fluid, more tangible, and ultimately much harder to leave. And that's why, despite all the love I have for the other parts, the Part 4 anime stands out so powerfully, and stands as the best anime adaptation JoJo has received to date. I love JoJo, but damn, I love Moyo even more. The script is 8 pages long. I totally failed at making a lighter video. Damn it! I love to talk about JoJo again, so I hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to show it if you did, I would appreciate it. No need to spell it out for you, you know how to do it. This was the Mayor, and I hope to see you again. See ya, goodbye, farewell.